Hello there, I'm Cambridge Rory, or Cambridge English Teacher Rory from studentlanguages.com, and in this video I'm going to be critiquing a CPE, that's C2 Proficiency essay. So first I'm just going to have a look at the essay question. I'm going to read this in my head. Okay, so I've read that. I read it. And tried to understand everything that was in there. Then I've put down the original answer, but I'm going to scroll down to the answer where I can make corrections. So, it's also important to remember that there are 4 key marking criteria: contents, communicative achievement, organisation and language. And I've also opened those up here, where we can see the different bands and what they're worth. You can have a look at this web page to find this table. It could be really useful. If you've already done the CAE exam, band 3 of C2 is kind of similar to band 5 of CAE. So I'm going to make some corrections and write some comments as and when I feel appropriate. So, although GM crops are purportedly beneficial for us, okay, immediately, purportedly is a good word. The confirmation of these claims await us. Okay. I would immediately say that talking about us in an essay, probably if you can try to write it in a way where you don't say for us and await us, but you use a different language to avoid saying us, that would be better. So again, that would be in the language. Say the language could be more appropriately formal or neutral even. Avoiding words such as us. Yep, okay, so many of us are wary of trying them and turn. If you say wary of trying here, I would also put this one in the ing form as well. Many of us are wary of trying them and turning to natural ones. Okay. I would possibly say and Many of us are wary of trying them and are turning towards to make it more obvious. People are turning towards. So, for example, rather than saying many of us, you could say many people. Turning towards natural ones, yeah. I wonder if you could think of another word for natural. Organic food has earned rampant popularity worldwide. Just another, rampant is another word which isn't so common. It's good. However, it is synonymous, another good word, with lavish lifestyle. Yeah, okay, so, and you can see there's actually a squiggle here from Google. Yeah, you could either say lavish lifestyles or a lavish lifestyle. I'm going to go with it plural. So that's just a small grammatical error. It's a good phrase though, synonymous with lavish lifestyle. It's just a shame that it's not quite grammatically correct. So I'm just being specific about what this is here. I'm going to make this a bit bigger so you can read it more easily. Synonymous with lavish lifestyles, which can perpetuate the yawning gap between the lucky few and the less fortunate. Yeah, perpetuate's another good word. Synonymous with lavish lifestyles. Okay, so organic food, yes it is. Okay, that's what they're saying. Can perpetuate the yawning gap between the lucky few and the less fortunate. Okay. Perpetuate, good word. So have a look at the question again. Okay. So we're talking about organic food. Okay. So I think this introduction paragraph is a good summary of the question. It addresses the point about how there's a gap between those who can afford organic food and those who can't, and also, yeah, people are wary of genetically modified crops, so it's good that it addresses those 2 points. So I'm going to write a comment about that in the content section. Nice. Of course, you can read these comments afterwards. I will send you this document. So, however, it is next paragraph. The writer of the first text points out that very little is known about genetically modified crops. Okay, and the effect on our health and the environment. So we're going into more detail about it, which is good. I want to see it. Let's keep going. The effect on our health and the environment. The possible risks put many people off buying these special. Okay, so you can't say these special food. Food here is uncountable. So you could say this special food, or maybe these types of food could be an option. But we need to change this somehow. So because I'm noticing these things, it's not going to be in a 5, it's going to be probably already, I'm thinking maybe a 3. Possibly a 2. Let's keep going though. Food sustainability and I'll put a comment here. For example. Sustainability and healthy living have come a long way. Yeah. I would maybe give this sentence a bit more context, like a long way from when or since when, or maybe just add a bit more context to it, as I say, to help with the communicative achievement, because it seems a bit on its own at the moment. Feel a little independent and could be connected better. Example, this sentence. Moreover, okay, so we've got a linking word, organization. Sentences are linked using various cohesive Moreover, it's the expensiveness of the organic food. Yeah. I've never really heard this word expensiveness before. I'd maybe say the cost of the organic food. It's possible it's a word, I just don't know it. It's the cost of the organic food behind the irresistible desire to purchase them. Which is the cost of Okay, so there's a problem again about this countable and uncountable thing. So it is the cost of this organic food behind the irresistible desire to purchase it, let's say, or these organic foods. Depends on how you look at the word food. It is the expensiveness, the cost of this. I'm going to put this. Of the organic food behind the irresistible desire to purchase them. Purchase it, let's see. In the circle of higher class of our society, in the circle of higher classes of our society. Whose society? Our societies? Our civilization? If it's on a global scale? I think you need to say which put it into the circle of higher classes, because otherwise, if you don't say this sentence actually doesn't really make sense. Moreover, it is the cost of organic food behind the desire to purchase it, which put it into the higher classes of society. If you don't say that, then you're just saying that there's a cost of food behind the desire to purchase it. But you're not. It doesn't have context. You understand? You need to say which put it into. You need to explain why you are talking about the cost, and you're talking about it because you're saying that that's what makes it available only to higher classes. Considering the rising prices of products, developing exorbitant eating habit. Yeah, let's say habits with an S. That's a good word. Communicative achievement again, so I want to add that thing about, which puts into this sentence here. Some sentences lack the full information to make them whole and complete. For example, this one. And the thing about our society, like whose society, it's not specific enough. To make them whole, complete, specific, and have that they have the desired meaning that you want them to have. Exorbitant eating habits has become the prerogative of the few, and to make matters worse, well-off people often look down on their poorer counterparts who cannot afford to put natural food on their kitchen table. Yeah. Because you're talking about their, again, plural, I would probably say tables, just to keep it more in line. Suffice to say that organic food has become a status symbol. Yeah, don't need the comma here. you're agreeing with him. I wonder if you can, maybe it'll come later, but if you have a look at what it says in C2 here, it's actually a really good document because it has some other useful input. So for example here, writing an essay, a coherent essay which integrates a summary of the key points contained in these texts, an evaluation of the arguments and your own ideas. I think you're summarizing here. I'm not sure how much you are evaluating and giving your own opinion. It seems like you're agreeing with it, which I suppose is good. I feel like maybe you could add a bit more evaluation in there. Why is it the case? Why? A bit more answering the question why. I'll write that in the content area. More evaluation. The key ideas on top of a summary would be good. The author of the second passage expresses their grave concerns about the lack of knowledge of GM food. Genetically modified foods are designed, to be, same thing as earlier about food, countable, uncountable. I'm just going to ignore it for now. I'll highlight it. Are designed to be ward off. You can just say to ward off. Good expression, but you don't need to say be, just to ward off certain kinds, I would say, of illnesses. You can say foods, genetically modified foods are designed, it's just because I put the apostrophes, are designed to ward off certain kinds of illnesses and thrive on irrespective of any kind of weather condition. And thrive, I wouldn't say on, just they thrive irrespective of any kind of weather condition. Nevertheless, the vast majority of consumers remain deeply skeptical of these assertions. Okay, so I'm just going to check if this is your idea or if it's the idea of the passage here. Yeah, so it looks like it's your idea, that's what I was thinking. Are designed to ward off certain kinds of illnesses and thrive irrespective of any kind of weather condition. Okay. Nevertheless, okay, so there's another linking word we can put down here. The vast majority of consumers remain deeply skeptical of these assertions, and they're downright hostile. Yeah, it's a nice phrase, but I think it's a little bit too informal for an essay. They're downright hostile, it's quite opinionated. Against the idea of taking risks of their health. Yeah, risks should be two, as it says here. Okay, so the vast majority of consumers, it's good language though, remain deeply skeptical of these assertions, and they're downright hostile against the idea of taking risks to their health. Okay. Yeah. Normally we say hostile to something, they're hostile to the idea of taking risks to their health. By the same token, they are inclined to buy natural food instead. Okay. They want to eat, so you're agreeing, again, you're agreeing with what the guy is saying above, I think, in the question. By the same token, they want to eat and feed their family members with daily supply of healthy fruit. Yeah, you could, again, so think about countable, uncountable, article or no article, with add daily supply or with daily supplies. Daily supplies of healthy fruits and vegetables, okay. They want to eat and feed their family members with daily supplies of healthy fruits and vegetables. Espousing the values of organic food has become a worldwide craze. Nice. I like this phrase. So I'm going to put it to the good language. In conclusion, researchers of GM food have yet to carry out. Yeah, okay, so research, you can just say, because research is also uncountable. Research of GM food has yet, because it's uncountable, you can talk about it like singular. Research has yet to be carried out. It should be in passive because people carry out research. Research doesn't carry out itself. People carry out research. So, occasional use of the active voice instead of the passive voice. Could also be in communicative achievement that help with the flow. Should be in passive. Wealthy people pay extra money for food in which harmful chemicals were not involved in the farming process. Yeah. Notwithstanding the ethical reasons, the hoi polloi vehemently, yeah. This is quite informal, so probably wouldn't write it in an essay, the hoi polloi. Vehemently condemn this kind of show off. Yeah, this kind of showing off. I should say this kind of showing off. Because they do not have the wherewithal to adopt this outrageously overpriced eating habit. Yeah, okay, I don't think it's about the wherewithal. Wherewithal is like they don't have the knowledge to adopt it. I think they do have the knowledge maybe, but they just don't have the ability to because they don't have enough money, for example. Just going to read this last paragraph again. Okay, I feel like this idea at the end here is almost a bit of a new idea, that you're saying that the hoi polloi, they don't adopt it, and then they condemn it as showing off. I don't feel like you've really talked about that enough in here to say that the well-off people look down on their poorer counterparts. Okay, symbol. I feel like talking about the not so well off people really condemning and disliking it is kind of like a new point. So which kind of makes me think that the overall flow, the communicative achievement again is a little bit doesn't flow quite nicely because you're introducing a new point at the end. doesn't tie the overall piece together well. I feel like this is a thing that actually I feel like you could connect the whole essay together better and make it clearer the arguments throughout. So I would, if I were you, I'd have a read of some other CPE essays and examiners' comments on them and see how people have managed to do that, how they've tied their essays together and kept a flow, because that I think should and could be improved. And that's where I think that this essay probably wouldn't be good enough to pass, because I'd only give that a 2. The content, okay, most of it's relevant, but I feel like you could add other things that are also relevant and which are tied more closely. Actually, there are some bits which I think are probably not so relevant as well. So I'm only going to give it a 2 for that. I can't remember if I mentioned those bits earlier. Well, firstly, actually, mainly this is the people who can't afford it condemning the showing off relevant? I suppose it is, because it's talking about gaps in society. Something else earlier. Yeah. Okay. I think content's largely okay, but so I'm going to give it a 3. But as I said, I think that you could remove some content and add other content, which would make everything tie together better. Organization. Okay, so again, it's all kind of linked. Like you use good words and phrases to link things together. Like in conclusion, you open up things well, like the author of this passage, to make it clear what you're talking about, and using words and phrases that are linking sentences together inside the text, like moreover, nevertheless, however. So all that stuff's good. And you clearly separated the paragraphs, which is good. So yeah, I don't think it's so much a problem with the organisation. I think it's more a problem with the flow of the arguments within the individual paragraphs. So I'm going to give it a 3 for organisation. I'm just going to say I feel like on a individual paragraph level, the arguments could be tied together better. But also on a bigger level, so on an individual and wider paragraph level. Yeah. I'd say despite the good language and the phrases and words that you use to tie things together, and the fact that that clearly separating stuff, I still think that actually this feeling is going to make me probably give it a 2 rather than a 3. And language, well, there are some problems with the language as well. So even though there are some really good words and phrases, I think that these types of things, like the grammatical errors, for example, using the active rather than the passive voice, I don't think you can really get away with that at CPE. So I'm going to give that a 2 as well, which means that we've got 3, 2, 2, 2. So 3, 2, 2, 2, which is 6, 9 out of 20. So you'd need to get 15 in your other writing in order to pass. But I think that there are some things in here which you can improve quite simply. I think just trying to tie the overall piece together a bit better. Doing a bit more research on the type of language you should be using in essays, and avoiding some simple errors like about countable and uncountable, I think would go a long way to improving your score. And that would put it into the pass category, I think. So I hope this was useful for you. Yeah, good luck. Keep studying, keep revising other people's writings and seeing what other examiners say about them. And that'll be really useful for you. Okay. I've been Cambridge Rory, or Cambridge English Teacher Rory, from studentlanguages.com. Thank you and goodbye.